Godzilla is now in New York City.
Monster 01 and 02, commence the attack.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Stomp This Way. This week we are reviewing the penultimate film in the Showa era Gamera series, which is Gamera vs. Zigra, or the Japanese title was Gamera vs. Deep Sea Monster Zigra. So, we're winding down the Showa era. Got one more to go. I'm sure Dylan will be glad when it's over. But before we get to the end, we got to review this film. So here we are. I think Dylan's broken. It's too late to save him. But anyway.
Hi.
There were some broken people working on this movie.
Apparently, yeah.
Shortly after the release of this film, Dai went bankrupt, resulting in the film being distributed by Dainichi Ihei, or something like that. Ihei. Because of Dai's bankruptcy, this was the first Gamera film to not be theatrically released in the U.S. It was instead released straight to television by King Features Entertainment in 1987. When it was announced that Dai was going bankrupt and could not pay its employees, a riot broke out at the studio that resulted in a fire that destroyed the sets and props used for making the Gamera films. Those employees were not happy. I also read in that little book that came with the thing up there that like the stress levels were so high at Dai at the time that one employee died of a stress related aneurysm or something during the making of this movie, and the president of Dai Studios had to go to the hospital because of high blood pressure issues. So it was not good working conditions during the making of this movie. It was featured on season 3 of MST3K. Filmed on location at Kamigawa SeaWorld and around Kamigawa City, the special effects scenes were shot on a small set near SeaWorld with none of the miniatures being destroyed. Can't afford that. But they did burn that Zigra suit at the end of this movie. They was not going to need this later. A sequel called Gamera vs. Two-Headed Monster W did reach pre-production but was pulled after the bankruptcy. Dylan was like, please God, no. It would not be the last of the Showa era Gamera series. 9 years later, Dai would literally crap out one last Showa era film, but we'll get there when we get there. Anyway,
in 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. But box office, this was released on July 17th of 1971 with a budget similar to the last one of about 35 million yen, or that would apparently, as I read, be roughly translated to around $97,000 today in US dollars. So, low budget. But anyway, we're going to listen to a trailer, and then we're going to come back, read off the cast and crew, read off a plot summary, and then we'll discuss our thoughts on Gamera vs. Zigra. See you in a bit.
480光年の距離にある惑星から地上の生物を食料にしている深海怪獣ジグラが地球征服にやってきた。
地球のこの美しい海に私のように美しい姿の生物が支配すべきである。
しかし人類の味方である正義の怪獣ガメラはこれを迎え撃つ。
地球人類に次ぐ速やかに降伏せよ。物質破壊4次元殺人光線発射。
が助けに来るのを待つだけだ。それよりトム、酸素はあと15分しかない。
ではあの4人を見殺しにするっておっしゃるんですか？
助けてパパ。
よし、こっちおいで。
パパヘレ
4次元光線体火炎噴射、オレンジ光線体回転ジェット、大映が送る年に一度の怪獣映画の決定版。ガメラ対ジグラにご期待ください。
All right, we're back. Dylan's like, please no. Let's go back to not being back. This film was directed by Noriaki Yuasa, as always. Written by Nissan Takahashi, effects by Kazufumi Fuji, music by Shunsuke Kikuchi, and starring Eiko Yanami, Raiko Kasahara, Mikiko Sobuichi, Koji Fujiyama, Isamu Saiki, Yasushi Sakagami, Arlene. I'm trying to Japanese that up. So these were half white girls. Look at that. Arlene Zollner and Gloria Zollner, Shin Manatsu, and that's it. That's all. That's all of them.
Okay.
That is I don't know who played Gamera. It was not listed on the IMDb page. But anyway, what is the plot, Dylan? Plot?
When Ken, Helen, and their respective fathers are kidnapped by Zigra, they learn of the aliens' evil plot to take over the world's oceans and force humanity to surrender by causing massive earthquakes. However, Ken and Helen use their wits to escape, and so Zigra sends his humanoid assistant after them. As she chases the children around SeaWorld, Gamera engages in battle with Zigra, destroying the giant fish creature spaceship before Zigra immobilizes Gamera with a beam from his head. Scientists learning how to dehypnotize the children's parents also dehypnotize Zigra's assistant, and learn that she is a human that was kidnapped from the moon base when Zigra destroyed it. The children and their fathers go down in a small sub in an attempt to use the same tactic to save Gamera, but are thwarted by Zigra. Gamera is later revived by lightning instead, and he quickly saves the sub and defeats the evil space invader. The kids get a lecture on polluting the oceans, and Gamera flies off in victory as credits roll.
To the Gamer March one last time, because this is the last film with the Gamer March. Dylan's like, oh, thank God. I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it quite a lot. But anyway, yeah, so this film starts out on the moon.
Yeah.
With a,
Sure.
yeah, on the moon. And the moon is destroyed.
And the moon is a toy.
But, we'll talk about that later. A moon rover is beamed away.
Yeah.
And this will actually come back into the plot later. They thought about this ahead of time. But yeah, so then we meet our two children for this movie. There's no straight out white kids in this movie.
No. They're half Japanese, half white, or American, or German, or something.
Half white.
Judging based on their last name, they sound kind of German.
Zollner? Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But
their names are Helen and Margie, allegedly. But that's not far off from their real names, Arlene and Gloria. So, you know what? We take what we said back. And their dads work at SeaWorld, and they live at SeaWorld. Because I guess SeaWorld has apartments for their employees. I don't know if that's a real thing. Maybe it was back in the 70s in Japan. You know, I love a good SeaWorld, and I think the start of this movie is kind of cool. You get to see some like killer whale shows and
stuff,
and some seal shows. We
do, and yeah.
And then they go out on a boat to see this crashed spaceship, or this spaceship that came down in the ocean, and of course,
sure do.
They immediately get kidnapped.
Yeah.
And
because kidnapping's good, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, we complained about the last film that there were no aliens and children being kidnapped by aliens, but
it happens in this one.
We get back to the good old formula here, and they get kidnapped. But after Zigra spills his evil plot, or at least his assistant spills his evil plot, and their dads get hypnotized. The kids escape with their fathers.
Sure do.
Gamera shows up and saves them. And so Zigra has to send this chick out to chase them down. And then there's a lot of these kids being chased around SeaWorld by this very ineffective alien.
Very.
Or she's not an alien,
She's
I guess.
not an alien.
She actually is human.
Yeah.
Man. Gosh.
But did you enjoy the chase around SeaWorld?
It's goofy.
It's very Scooby-Doo-ish. There's even a scene where they're like running in and out of doors, and she'll run out of one, and they'll run out of the other, and they'll run back in, and she'll run out the other one, and
Yeah.
as Scooby-Doo goes. And then while all this is going on, Gamera goes out and destroys Zigra's spaceship, but because of the difference in water pressure, he grows giant.
Yeah.
And he beats Gamera. Gamera has his obligatory first loss. The first fight, like monster on monster fight, doesn't actually come until 45, 50 minutes into this movie.
Yeah,
so that's kind of late for these Showa era Gamer movies, but is what it is. But then they learn that if they make some weird sounds into a radio headset, it dehypnotizes these people up
from this.
So they rescue their fathers and the girl from the moon, and figure out she's the girl from the moon. Very clever plot twist, I might say. They go down to try to save Gamera.
Doesn't work.
They get attacked by Zigra, so their oxygen is running out, and
subs getting flooded.
But they flash their lights at Zigra because he doesn't like lights, and so he freezes them. And because he hypnotizes them,
I guess they don't need oxygen.
They don't need oxygen, I guess. Or their cells went inactive, is what it said. I guess whatever. His ray has many powers. It goes from hypnotizing people to straight up just like putting them in comatose states. Yeah. So many uses for his ray.
It's interesting.
But it doesn't really matter because Gamera gets woke up by lightning anyway. So then Gamera saves them.
Yeah, like Frankenstein.
Like Frankenstein. I'll say that the last 15 minutes of this movie are comedy gold. You have Gamera where he very ineffectively tries to sneak up on Zigra, so he just chunks a rock at him to see if he's awake and smacks him and wakes him up. But then Zigra's just whatever, goes back to sleep because he can't see the giant turtle standing in front of him.
He's doing weird things to make him look like a rock.
Yeah. And he picks up the stuff and he backs away, and then you see him flying across the screen. I mean, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Dylan's just oh,
it's okay.
God. And then later, at the end of the movie, so we're getting to the final fight with only 8 minutes left in this movie. Kind of late for one of these Gamera movies. But he gets Zigra up on land. He uses a rock to block his beam or whatever by sticking a rock on his snout.
Doesn't quite make any sense.
And he falls over top heavy because Zigra magically grows legs when he gets on land. But we're not gonna worry about that. And then, one of the most excellent uses of being meta that I've ever seen, Gamera proceeds to use Zigra's back as a xylophone and plays his own theme song. Mm-hmm. And it is amazing. It is hilarious, even if Dylan doesn't appreciate it.
It's something.
It's something.
It's great.
And so and then the kids get a impromptu lecture on keeping the oceans clean after they just survived a horrible ordeal of being
almost drowned,
almost murdered by Zigra and saved by Gamera, a giant flying turtle. But it's important to keep the oceans clean, kids.
Yeah, of course.
And then Gamera flies off, with a victory screech, and the Gamera march plays, and
of course. And
it's over, and Dylan's thank God. I don't know. You know what? I'll say this. I think this movie is more entertaining than the last one.
It's definitely more entertaining than the last one. Does it make it good?
Well, I think it's more wacky. I think the antics are more fun. I think it's more engaging.
A little more.
That's not what I said. I said that doesn't make it good.
I'm not going to try to argue that this is a great piece of cinema, but for what they were working with, I think
it's not good.
Did a good job. The kids are younger this time. I think it makes it more fun. I think that whole chase around SeaWorld, as goofy as it is kind of a funny concept, but it's kind of funny. And I like seeing sea animals, perform their little shows. I love sea creatures.
Sea creatures.
Although nowadays that would probably be considered animal abuse, and they would be throwing a fit. But whatever. There's one scene early on where the trainer has the orca open its mouth, and he sticks his head down, sticks his head right in the thing's mouth to check its teeth. I'm like, that guy has got some balls. They brush his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, cool little orca stuff.
It kisses him.
There's one time where they're acting out a scene where the girl is trying to kidnap the kids right on the side of the orca pool. I'm sure those orcas are what the heck is going on here?
Good times.
But anyway. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it, Andrew?
I enjoyed it.
Do you appreciate the comedy in this film?
Yes.
It is quite funny, isn't it?
The ending is great.
The last 15 minutes is great.
It's something.
Yeah.
Come on, Dylan. You gotta admit
Come
that's
on,
The
Dylan.
xylophone thing is very meta.
I love meta stuff.
It's something.
Do 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 do
Dude.
do 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 do. You want to move on to effects?
We have to talk about creature design first.
Oh, creature design. Yeah, I was just giving a whole thing. Like, I'm more ready than Dylan is, I guess. Just kidding. So, Gamera, same as always.
Same Gamera.
Same as
Yeah,
always.
I mean, the flying sequences are looking a little more static,
Yeah.
but you know, it is what it is.
There's a Zigra.
What do you think about Zigra, Dylan?
He's a flying shark fish thing.
Yeah.
His
Underwater.
back is like the Sydney Opera House.
It is, yeah. That's a
Yes.
good observation.
But he's also like a shark type thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
There's a scene.
And he can magically sprout legs on land.
There's a scene where, you know, at the beginning when his ship is like chasing after their little boat, it looks like a giant shark fin.
Kind
Yeah.
of. It's like a shark-esque crown. Like if you had a crown that had like sharky type,
Things.
fins on the top.
Yeah.
And jelly beans that light up.
Yeah.
Just jelly beans. But yeah, when he gets on land, he has legs. When he's in water, he doesn't. But, you know, we're not going to worry about that. So yeah, the spaceship.
Don't talk about that.
Spaceship's just like a UFO with jelly beans. And
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Any other
It
creatures?
floats.
It floats. But going into effects,
They're not good.
and you know, we start out with this moon base that you can obviously tell is a
Model.
little model set.
Model is stretching it. This is a toy.
A toy set.
A toy set.
Toy set,
Okay,
yeah.
I've seen toys that probably look better than this.
And it's very unfortunate that they have to put the little toy girl inside the toy moon rover.
And then they have it like they have the shot where they kind of pan down to like the surface of the moon, and you can like see out in space, and it's like very clearly like a screen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like-
Oh boy.
yeah, the rear projection shots in this a little rough. The screen they use is looking a little dirty, a little crumpled.
Oh my god. Like,
But
If you're gonna do that, the screen has to be very
Pristine.
clean, very
Yeah.
smoothed out.
I mean, you can literally see the wrinkles and the lines and like the dirt and stuff on the screen. They're projecting these images on them like they're just standing in front of the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. There's a matting shot that's not bad where Gamera's like when he returns the little boat to the land, and you can see
Yeah.
Gamera on the left side of the screen and the people on the right.
It's alright.
It's not bad.
The scene where he picks him up though out of the ocean. Oh,
A little blue screen effect. Yeah, it's a little rough around the edges.
a little.
There's a scene where Gamera breathes fire underwater.
what the hell?
Breathes father.
He breathes father.
He breathes father.
Wow.
He
He
breathes fire under the water. and
I'm like,
how?
What?
How?
Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it. But
really
the fire.
It's really
The
hot fire.
flamethrower effects look good though, because
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
real flamethrower in his mouth.
The laser
Yeah.
beams are alright.
His
And,
back leg jets look okay. The
Mhm.
laser beams look fine.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I mean,
No.
it kind of looks cheap because you know it is kind of.
It is cheap.
It is good that they got to film on location at SeaWorld. That helps it out a little bit. So there's that. There's a little toy sub later. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not great.
They're running out of money. They're going
Yeah.
bankrupt. Can't help it. It's not their fault.
No.
Happens.
There's a score.
There's a score by the same guy that's in the last few.
Lots of gamer theme.
Lots of the gamer
Lots of
march.
gamer theme.
There's this one other theme that plays a lot. I can't even remember how it goes now, but
And then the sequence where they're running around SeaWorld
Yeah.
sounds like Scooby Doo's. Is fun.
yeah,
It's
a
fun.
Scooby-Doo.
It works.
It's
thing.
alright.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
You all ready for some final thoughts?
Yeah.
Andrew, would you like to start?
Yeah.
Well.
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 Oh well.
It's a movie.
It is a movie.
It's more entertaining than the last one. It's not as well made per se.
Production values went down a little bit.
Just a little. But it's entertaining. Its effects are lacking at, but score is good. I always like me some good Gamma March.
Yeah, I love the
They
Gamma
played that a lot in this movie.
When Gamer plays his own theme song,
That's when you know.
you've hit peak meta.
The peak.
The peakest.
The peakest. But there's other themes in this movie, like when they're running through the ocean world.
I like the sad piano version
Yeah.
of Gamer's March.
It's good, and the design of Zigra looks alright. It's interesting looking.
Yeah.
It's like a shark
thing.
shark thing with a pointy nose.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Gende's Gamera. He always looks the same. No difference.
No difference.
But you
Four
know,
little lights go out once.
Yeah, if his little lights go out, that's how you know he's down for the count when his lights go out.
but that happens every movie.
Once every movie.
Once
yeah.
every movie. But you know, I think I'm gonna give this movie C.
A C? Alright, Dylan, what do you think?
Hey.
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 It's more entertaining than the last film. I'll give you that.
Okay.
I am glad that we have gone back to this formula, though I have not been a huge fan of these movies. I'd say that the formula that they created with these, you know, the kids and the aliens and the space hijinks, and then we come back and then the, you know, stuff ensues. I think that work. That the movies work best when they're doing that. So this movie is more entertaining than the last film.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It's okay.
It's just really goofy.
Yeah.
This one's probably the most goofy that we've seen, I'd say.
It's up there.
It's we have a scene at the end of the movie where a giant space turtle plays his own theme song on the back of a flying shark thing.
Okay, well, to be fair, he's not a space turtle because he didn't come from space.
He's from
not
Earth.
to correct you, he's from Earth.
Space turtle. Because I care.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyway, Gamera plays his own theme. But the effects in this movie are not good. The model work is atrocious. The rear projection is atrocious. The matting, like the one decent matting shot is just okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, Zigra looks pretty cool though. I kind of like him. I like the way a ship looks, and then Gamera looks pretty normal. And then the score is what it has been for the last couple movies. Mostly the Gamera march mixed with a couple other things. I mean, it's fun and it works for the scenes that it's in, but you know, I get tired of hearing the Gamera march 10 or 15 times in 80 minutes.
I never get tired of it.
So it's a film. It is a movie.
It is.
I give it a D+.
Give it a D+. All right. Well, you know what? I appreciate this movie. Listen, they were making this movie under some high pressure conditions.
They sure were.
Money was running low for this whole studio. Employees were upset because they weren't getting paid. You know, it was just a high pressure situation. And I think, you know what? They pumped out a perfectly entertaining little Gamera movie. You know, it's made for kids. I appreciate that the kids are, once again, younger this time, more the target audience for this movie. I think that works better for this movie. I don't find them too annoying. I think that, you know, they play the Gamera March a lot in this movie. It's the last time we'll hear the Gamera March in this franchise, and I really love the Gamera March. I love the meta stuff in this movie with Gamera playing his own theme song. I love the scene where Gamera's, like, sneaking up on Zigra and, like, just chunks a rock at him and then, like, backs away slowly and is like ducking and trying to hide. It's hilarious. Or at least I find it hilarious. I mean, yeah, does it get a bit tedious at points? It does. Is it goofy as heck? Of course. Do the production values look great? Definitely not. But I'll give this movie a C. I think, you know, all things considered, it's perfectly fine. That being said, just a little bit of news I wanted to cover. I know we're a little bit late to the game on this, but Waxwork Records has released all 15 soundtracks from the Showa-era Godzilla films on vinyl. Pre-order price is $450 and expected to ship sometime in March. So, Dylan, I don't listen to vinyl records. If I did, I might consider buying this. As someone who buys a lot of worthless vinyls,
excuse you?
Is $450 a good price for 15 things?
Personally, I'm not going to pay $450 for
I'm just saying, like if
film
soundtracks. What is that like market? Is that?
I mean, I'd say probably for something like that, probably not bad.
Not bad.
It's honestly probably decent.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought the. Like other film soundtracks that I have, $25-$30
a piece. Well, if you take $30 times 15, that's
a price.
$450. So I mean, yeah,
probably about market value.
Yeah, about market value. So you know, if you're into collecting vinyls, I mean, that's probably
you really like Godzilla.
And you like Godzilla, it is there if you want it.
It is an option.
And I guess also Legendary and Warner Brothers have reached an agreement or are approaching an agreement to keep the hybrid release of Godzilla vs. Kong on HBO Max and in theaters on May 21st. So still gonna be able to see it that day. So yay! But anyway, we got one more film in the Gamera Showa era before he gets his 90s reboot. I'm really excited to cover those 90s films, but we got to get through one more Gamera movie. But that's in a couple of weeks. Next week, we're coming back over to the States for a little bit. We're going into the imagination of Guillermo del Toro for the Pacific Rim. So, you know, I honestly don't. I mean, I've caught bits and pieces of it on TV since theaters, but I don't think I've sat through it from beginning to end since theaters.
Nope.
So,
but it was decent. I remember liking it.
I remember liking it all right. So
now that second one, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of fans that really love Pacific Rim. A lot of Kaiju fans really love Pacific Rim. We'll see if that love holds up. But yeah, then we'll review the last Showa era Gamera movie, Gamera Super Monster, and then we'll review Pacific Rim Uprising. I just ordered it off Amazon on 4K.
I'm sorry.
It was only like $12. So.
Okay, do you have Pacific Rim?
Yeah, it's on Blu-ray down there somewhere. So, yep, we'll be watching those. And then, like I said, Gamera's 90 trilogy. Here we come. Some of the best movies we're going to watch. Legit. Not joking. Not stretching the truth. But anyway, I guess that's really all we got for you this week. Dylan, you want to remind them of our new project we got going on?
Yeah, we do have a new project that we're working on. We discuss and review horror films.
That's right.
We just recently released our first review of a film over the original Wrong Turn film from 2003.
That's right.
Next episode will be over the second Wrong Turn film, and we're leading up into the 2021 reboot thing. Yeah. Thing that's coming out here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So, if you are interested in hearing us talk about horror movies, that show is called Movies Don't Create Psychos.
That's right, and you can find that on Spotify or Google Podcasts or
other things
soon. Other places soon. But as far as this podcast goes, you can contact us at stompthisway1954@gmail.com.
Absolutely. We're also up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are at Stomp This Way on all those platforms. So make sure you give us a like or a follow, and be sure to tell your friends about us.
We also have a website. Andrew, where can they find that website?
Well, they can find that website at www.stompthisway.podbean.com.
That is right. Dylan, what do we got over there?
We have a schedule.
We have a schedule.
Yes.
On that schedule, you can see grades for previous films.
That's right.
You can also find backlogged episodes and whatever news Aaron wants to keep us updated with.
That's right.
Yep.
But other than that, I think that's all we got for you this week. Don't forget to tune in next week for Pacific Rim. And as always, I'm Aaron.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Dylan. And we'll catch you in the next one.